Everybody, Hans Heiser here alongside my good friend bbock. Happy holidays to you and your family.
No, don't say Merry
don't
Christmas.
say
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
Holidays.
Merry Christmas, everybody. If you happen to be of the Jewish persuasion, Happy Holidays. Don't take, I hate that. Will you please say Merry Christmas?
I heard you got an early Christmas present.
What was that?
You just told me. Your MacBook.
Oh, yeah. I just got a MacBook. I figure it'll take me about 3 or 4 days to become.
You'll be ready to roll. They're not easy to learn.
No,
they're not easy to learn at all. I mean, you can't operate anything, much less a sophisticated piece of machinery like that.
well, I resent that.
Well, that's just a waste of money. I mean, it really is.
No, it's horrible.
There's so many things that you could add instead.
You have your little ditty thing in front of you here.
Yeah.
This is, and so you can pop up rosters and stuff like that. And you could just run through names like you're Domino or
It's
Chuck
right
Oliver
here.
or something.
It's right
like
here.
that. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, then put that in the men's room and let's continue with the show.
I'll accept your challenge. I accept your challenge, sir.
Your
So,
name? Where were you born?
I was born in Northside Hospital, which I've decided, by the way, this used to be one of the worst traffic areas in Atlanta. I'm decided now that Johnson's Ferry, Peachtree, Dunwoody, over by the mall over there in the hospitals, that is now the worst
That's
traffic
the
part in
worst.
Atlanta.
That's a half hour. If you get in that matrix over there, that's a half hour.
Are people just getting sick?
People are getting sick. People are feeling queasy.
I'm one of them.
They want to go. They want to find out what's wrong.
Yeah, they want to know what the deal is. I sat there the other night. I was going to play basketball. The light changed over 8 times, and 40 minutes went by, and only 2 cars made it through the intersection.
I know.
It was unbelievable. It was like The Walking Dead. It was like Armageddon outside.
You know, it'd be great if you had just like a little push cart type of thing where you could load up 4 of them from the cars, rush them down to the emergency room, and
I want a scooter. I wouldn't mind getting one of those little European scooters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Zipping through everybody.
Right.
I wouldn't mind doing that. Edward, our fine producer.
And some 80-year-old man opens his door to expectorate, and you're part of the saliva.
Is that what you do? You open your door in traffic? So anyway, it is good to see you. We're minus AJ today. We understand he's going reconstructive groin surgery. He's going to be out a while.
No. You don't even know. You don't even know that this man.
Do they just cut it off? Do they tuck it? What do they do with that thing?
This man just had the gall to say this to me. This was 3 o'clock. We're supposed to be here, 3:30, but usually sure.
I got here at 4. Whatever.
So it says, hey man, I'm at the emergency room in Lawrenceville with my neighbor who cut a couple of fingers off with a chainsaw. No crap, dumb fuck really did. I'm going to be here for a while.
Tell him right now. Hold on. Ask him because he's got a smartphone. Say, okay, take a picture of the hospital and send it to me. I need some proof. No, you should.
I should have.
I don't believe that guy as far as I can throw him.
I just said,
he's sitting at home
come on,
watching
you hum
porn
job,
right
we're
now.
close. And he says, close to what? And I said, we're close to getting a gig. We're close to being on the air. We're close to transforming, at least giving Atlantans something to listen to on radio.
Yeah.
That's what we're close to.
We were supposed to have Bob
then he
Costas
said-
today, but he backed out last minute. I meant to tell you that.
and
Bob's
he
not
said-
coming.
No, but we got a power forward here.
Do you?
Yeah, some guy just overheard him. This guy does everything. You mentioned Harley Davidson, 10 minutes later he's on a Harley. And all dressed up in all the clothes.
Oh, you got to wear the clothes.
Yeah, he's got everything. He's got the whole kit. And then somebody was mentioning that he was a power forward. And no one can sit near this guy.
You got a lot of those people in here.
So then he says, I'll be leaving to head over in a minute. I said, great.
So whatever.
Then at 3:54, dude, go ahead and do without me today. I got other crap to deal with now. I'll have to catch the next one.
Well, I, for one, I think the show's got to go on. So I think we got to do it without it. So we'll just do the deal. So I read your commentary today in the men's room. I was in there taking a whiz. I missed it today, and
Well, they hang it up there above the urinal.
they
every
or
day.
you? They or
No,
you?
they do. What do you think? I'm in there. What do you think? I run up here.
What guy
with a
works here
little-
that goes in there and does it?
I have fans.
So-
of very diverse fan.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Every time I turn on the radio or pick up the paper or whatever the media outlet is right now, other than one particular station in town who I think is doing a better job covering stuff that's actually relevant.
Right.
Why is everybody still talking about this Falcons team? What is there to do other than to evaluate these young players at this point? What are you looking for?
Right. Well, the only
Other than
thing,
that.
the only thing that I'm evaluating is I'm trying to bring to light the fact that Smitty is not a head coach in the National Football
You've been
League.
saying that forever.
He's a great guy, great coach, but he's not. He's a follower. He's not a leader. He'd be a nice assistant for somebody, but not the best assistant because the guy's emotionless, and consequently we are the least physical team in the league right now.
Yeah.
We got Washington coming in here. Washington, I've been talking about for 2 years, is more physical than
They've
we are.
quit, though.
We maybe that's what that's what's
they've
going to
quit.
happen. So in fact, that's what I was writing today is. What do we got? What are we looking for in this game? We're looking to Zeke Mata.
You're looking at Mata. You're going to continue to
Can we
watch
please
Cooper?
get Anton some more carries?
See, I think that's overblown.
No, I
think
don't.
that's overblown.
No, I don't.
I really do. I
I
don't
need-
understand. People are just, why doesn't he get more? Why doesn't he get more playing time? Why does he get more? There's a reason.
The reason is they drafted Quiz. That's the reason. It has nothing to do with talent. They drafted Quiz.
See, I don't think it's
I'm
between him
telling
and
you.
Quiz. It's between him and Jackson.
No,
Look, Antoine Smith's not a feature back in the National Football League. So
don't
what the hell do you need
but
to take
who's
a
a
look?
feature back?
You're going to end up getting one in the draft.
Well, maybe. I mean, but there were other ways to fry fish than that.
Tell me another way to fry a fish.
Another way to fry fish is throw it the way X amount of teams have done it or won Super Bowls with a finesse passing game.
All right, Antoine Smith, I could give a rat's hinky about, okay? But I want to see the corners play. I want to see Alford a little bit more.
I think they're doing great.
Asante Samuel's probably
right.
going to be on the sidelines for most of the game. I mean,
Yeah.
he'll get out there in a few
Yeah.
packages, but they
Right.
want to get a look at these young guys.
And
I think
Asante's doing a good job of helping these kids. I mean, the guy does it the right way. He could easily be a prima donna and cop an attitude and say, I'm Asante Samuel and just sulk,
Yeah, but who is Asante Samuel?
Well,
he's a far cry.
No,
of who
but
he used to be.
he's got a lot of bones in the National Football. I mean, the guy's one of the leading interceptors of
Interceptors.
the last 10
That's
years.
a new one for you. Interceptors.
Well, what would you call a guy that's throwing a ball to you?
One who
big?
intercepts. An interceptor.
Well,
you're a pain in
intercept-
the ass.
Speaking of interceptor, look at this. Hey, Ernest, come in. Come in here, please. No, just come in the middle. Come in the middle. No. Just come in the middle. What is wrong with you?
Ladies and gentlemen, Hollywood Cole.
He's here. He's here with Ashton Kutcher. And he was spotting Bradley's Bar and Grill. Him, Ashton, and Angelina Jolie.
She hangs
who
out
seems
here.
to be hanging out.
Remember that one time she was up there with that guy?
Oh.
Remember that? Up in the crow's nest?
Remember it. I still dream about that.
Oh, man. We were doing a show. All of a sudden, Angelina walks in here. She starts playing footsie with some fat guy at the bar, and she disappears up in the crow's nest.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. It happened.
That's how Brad Pitt was discovered. He
And
used
I'm
to be
Brad
a
Pitt?
he used to be a bar. You're far from Brad Pitt.
Well, why is that?
You're more like Joe Pitts than Brad Pitt.
I'm taller than Joe Pesci.
By the way, this is Ernest Gibson. He played with New England in the Super Bowl in 1986.
I don't know if you call it playing.
He was the guy. He would line up. He was playing cornerback. He would line up and go,
Watch out, Bo. You're going to knock your cocktail over.
But just so you know, for 2 minutes and 6 seconds, we were kicking the Bears' butt.
"Yeah, baby,
Yeah.
yeah, baby."
Oh, that one.
Hey, Ernest, what was that? What was that like? What was that like? That physical? Come up here. Come in here.
Okay.
What was that physicality like? I mean, were they special? Did you know? I mean, could you feel their attitude on the field?
Oh, yeah. They were physical and they were well coached.
Yeah.
And so their confidence level was really high. Really high.
I see Singletary around here. I think he still lives in
Yeah.
Atlanta.
A lot of guys do.
Yeah.
About here.
Yeah.
Good place to live.
Well, Ernest is thinking of moving to Boston just so somebody will say hello.
So somebody will know
Somebody
who
will
I
buy
am.
me a drink. I tell you
Okay,
what.
I'm leaving.
And
'Cause I-
Mary, I got Ernest Tab if I win that lottery thing tonight.
Speaking of which, how about that Patriots game last week? The comeback with Brady and Cleveland.
It was classic.
They had no chance to win that football game. They had no chance. I hate that son of a bitch, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He's married to the best-looking woman in the world. Every girl you ever date is basically like, why can't you be more like Tom Brady?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Got a moat around his house, so wherever he goes, walking up on top of him, I think he can pee, and no one cares. It's unbelievable.
And the guy, from coming out of college, being a nobody, to just, when he retires, I want to hear some of the stories of the stories, that took place behind the scenes with him and Belichick and, the Super Bowl runs and the shit he says in the huddles to get his. I mean, they're down 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion with like a minute and a half left, and he's like, "We got this in the bag.
Right.
This is done. We lost Gronk for the year. Who cares?"
See, all the great ones though have always had that. They've always been able to do. That's what they talk about.
That was like
the
your pep talk
quarterback
you gave me
present.
before the show. You said this is going to be a great show.
Well, that was before I heard you.
Well, this is a non-speaking part.
No, you're doing good.
Doing good?
You're doing
Okay,
good.
great.
You think you're a male model anyway.
I do. I get confused a lot with male models, actually.
Hey, by the way, I was at the Hawks game the other night.
Yeah, how's Hubie doing? Did you guys go play racquetball?
I tried to talk to Hubie, but he had lockjaw. And it's a completely different show.
Who'd you go see?
Well, I went to see the Clippers, and then
Oh, you went to the Clippers game?
Yeah.
I figured you'd be on the front row with Lil Jeezy and all them. I could see you up front with all those guys. No, it is different, man. And what's crazy is, in a year where it's clear cut. I mean, you can go ahead and put Indiana versus Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals. They get, by the way, they get Danny Granger back on Friday. And if he can stay healthy, he could be another piece. But they beat Miami the other night, and that was a statement game. Because remember last year in the playoffs, they had no answer for Hibbert.
Yeah. Oh, that was the thing.
And Dwayne Wade, he's really starting to show the effects of that knee surgery 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm not saying LeBron's still the best player on the planet, and he's in his prime.
Right.
So I'd say they're still the favorites.
Right.
But the Pacers, to me, I looked at it. They have more games remaining against the Eastern Conference than any other team, and the Eastern Conference is terrible. So there's a realistic chance that they're going to be the 1 seed.
Right. Could be.
Take that for what you will.
No, that could be. The thing about Miami, I was sitting with a member of their scouting staff, and when the score came up, and Miami was losing, and he just looked at me and said, "Hibbert," and shook his head. It's like they don't have any answer for Hibbert.
Well, that's what Odin. If Odin can stay healthy, but that's not going to happen. How about this? So I stay pretty in tune with basketball. I know what's going on. I watch a lot of NBA. I watched Portland the other night for the first time. Terry Stotts is their coach.
I know.
Terry Stotts is their coach.
I know.
And they don't. I mean, other than Aldridge and Lillard and Matthews.
That's like spraying Dramamine into the arena.
I almost died taking that stuff.
Dramamine?
Yeah.
Don't take that then.
Yeah.
No, really, don't take it.
I took it. Well, I took a bunch of other stuff with it. So I think that's a problem. I don't think you're supposed to mix it with the other stuff.
Well.
So I was out in a boat. We were 35 miles out in the middle of the ocean. Yeah. And I'm laying in the bottom of the boat, throwing up, seasick. They give me the Dramamine. Then I have some kind of allergic reaction. You should have been there.
So instead of PEDs, you take SOLs.
I don't know what that means.
You take that and you shit out a walk doctor. You know what I mean?
Pretty true. So your boy Bobby's going to the Hall of Fame. He's going in with LaRussa. He's going in with Torrey. I thought it was interesting. As much as I hate Oberman, and I really do, I don't like him at all. He's such an asshole.
Yeah.
He did this whole diatribe on his show last night about the Hall of Fame and its hypocrisy. And he went on and ruined it. But the main point was he was comparing Torrey and Cox, who had success, prior to LaRussa. And then LaRussa's success was Oakland, St. Louis with
Right.
McGuire and
Right.
steroids.
Right.
And his point was, if you're going to not allow any of these guys in that are taking steroids, how the hell are you going to bring in a guy who knowingly had players that were on juice?
You know, is that what he said on
Yeah.
TV? Because that was Rick Riley's column.
Was it really?
That was Rick Riley's column, exactly the same. He had some point. Joe, who I love, man. He's just a great manager, great leader, great guy to be around. He's going in, but I mean, think about his guys. I mean, think about and LaRussa. I mean, the guys that were on steroids were plentiful with those two teams.
Oh yeah, no question about it. I mean, and you can look.
And then Bobby really can be accused of taking sedatives and giving them to his team.
Okay.
Hey, babe, come, babe.
All right.
Come, Rhino.
How about that?
Come, Rhino. A great manager. Great going.
I do like how, how all of our shortcomings, for the most part, came at the expense of those two guys, LaRussa and Torrey, a lot of the time.
Right.
Yeah, they outmanaged
Right.
them.
Right.
It was very plain and simple.
Right.
It wasn't like they had much better teams than we did.
Right.
He just got outmanaged.
Yeah. They were probably doing mind expansion experiments too. You know what I mean? Let's get them for that. No, but that was Rick Riley's column. That's a good point.
I know. I never even thought about it that way, but I don't know. They just did the winter meetings. I thought the Braves were going to do something. And some of the names that they're talking about right now, Jason Hamill.
Wait. What's going on here? J Lo in the house? What's going on? What's with the Mary? What's with the speakers? Speakers. Well, do they want their own show? Do they want their own show?
Oh, is it too loud for you?
Yeah.
Is it ruining your show?
Yeah, it's ruining.
Ruined. It's done.
Boom. We had something
Start
going
it
on.
over.
We had
Say something sooner.
we had internet magic in the making, and you went. That was it. Thank you.
One day that woman's going to put ricin in your freaking coffee. You're going to be sitting here. You're going to go home. You're going to get a little sniffle, and you're going to be dead right next to your freaking mummy. And Mary's going to get off scot-free.
No, didn't give him nothing.
I said, where the hell is Bo? The neighbors are going to smell something. It's gonna
Don't go
down.
by his house with the windows down.
So,
is what Mary
so
was.
everybody's talking about this whole Saban thing and Texas and posturing. He's going to do the same thing he always does. He's going to end up getting more money.
Yeah.
He's not going to go to
Yeah.
Alabama. His wife
Yeah.
doesn't want to move. But I think the more interesting thing is who gets that job if Mac Brown does step down. Because
Well-
all the candidates just re-upped.
Yeah, but everybody wants it.
Yeah, but if you just sign a contract
Well,
extension, you can't just quit, can you?
In football, you can. How many
football,
times
you
is it?
can.
How many times does it happen? Where guys just snub their nose at somebody and just walk away. You know what I mean? I mean, he could sign a contract with Alabama. Walk. I don't think he's that kind of guy. But
Who are you
the
talking
fact
about?
of the matter, I'm talking about Saban.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, that's a great job.
Texas.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's no
That's
doubt about
a
it.
huge job. Plus, with Mac, not underachieving. I love Mac, so I don't want to. But somehow he lost that program. I don't know how he did it because of the pulchritude of who he can bring in there. It's just extraordinary. But everybody wants that job.
See, I think that conference as a whole,
It's down.
right? Okay, here's the way I look at college football, okay? So you got the state of Texas, which has got a ton of talent, right?
Right.
So all of a sudden, Art Briles goes to Baylor,
Right.
right? He gets RG3. He gets all this talent there, that they never had before.
Right.
Now all of a sudden, Texas A&M, they get Kevin Sumlin, right?
Right.
Texas Tech had Tommy Tuberville for a while. They had it cooking. They were
Right.
top, and they got the Pirate. So you can't have it's at Texas's expense, is what I'm saying.
Right.
They
Well, to
can't
me, though,
maintain
they're-
that dominance with these other schools around them being
Yeah,
that.
I know. You know what? That's very logical. I don't think it's really
you.
true, though. I really
Chalk
don't.
that
I really
up.
don't. I mean, you're talking about the second most populated recruiting state in the country. California first, Texas, Florida, Georgia.
Florida's one. Florida's one.
No, Florida's not one. California's one. I'm talking about the entire state. California's one.
Okay.
Oh, so what? You looked up Wikipedia?
Swiss bbock, 1972.
So
What do you do with him after you crown him?
put him on a shelf.
You're a sick man. You're a sick man. No, but listen. So to me, I think the best place to recruit is Alabama. Okay, not the University of Alabama,
Yeah.
but the state of Alabama
Yeah.
and Louisiana, because you got Florida, you got Texas, you got Louisiana, you got Georgia.
Right.
I mean, Auburn is basically they can get any player
Right.
they want from Atlanta.
Right.
So,
Well,
I think it's more competitive here.
but that's also because Georgia Tech doesn't compete any longer, and
true.
and Georgia is not taking advantage of the situation.
That's a great point. That's a great point. But I mean, but whenever have they gone after the same type of athletes?
But the number of recruits has never been a problem for Georgia. The quality that the fight. I mean, it's never been a problem.
Your boy's coming back.
That's
Word
a-
on the street,
I
your
know.
boy's coming back
It's a dirty deal.
because he had a young defense.
Oh,
They're
stop.
going to be,
Come on.
hey.
Last year he had an old defense. What did they do? They gave 350
They were
yards to
thin. They had no
Alabama.
depth. They had no depth.
I mean,
See,
this
now
guy,
he's
this
got
guy, this
depth, and
guy's
now
got an
he's got
excuse,
more
everything.
experience.
You want me to prove it to you? Close your eyes and think about the Georgia defense. You don't see anything. Nothing in particular, no design, no style, no playing personality. Nothing jumps out at you. In all this time, he has never been able to create any type of defensive identity at Georgia. I mean, he could be carrying the offense, knew how good it is with the number of athletes. I mean, the 5-star athletes, quality NFL-type athletes on the defensive side of the ball. They should be dominating, but, Georgia's offense got to go for 40 every single game.
I tell you who's got it cooking, and I'm not just saying because they're playing for a national championship, is Auburn. This guy's a freaking genius. We talked a little bit. He's a genius. And, I mean, you bring in Ellis Johnson to run that defense, right? And you bring in Gardner from Georgia to handle the recruiting. You get rid of that dipshit Trooper Taylor.
Right.
Right? I mean, seriously, they are freaking cooking right now.
Know,
and they
I
get
know.
all of Alabama's leftovers.
I know. And they're hot. Think about the vibe that they're giving off. Georgia has no vibe right now.
I have a question. Did you notice during that game in the SEC Championship? Oh, no, it wasn't the SEC Championship. It was the game against Alabama. They showed Bo Jackson 100 times.
Yeah.
Bo Jackson was on the ground.
Yeah.
Where's Herschel?
Yeah.
Where the hell's Herschel?
Texas.
Do you know what I mean?
Texas.
Herschel needs to be on the sideline.
I know.
Kids see
Fly
that.
him
Not
in.
the kids have any
Fly him
idea who
in.
Herschel
Fly-
Walker is.
No, but the announcers do, and they make a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
Herschel, the only 3-time Heisman Trophy winner in the history of the game.
Even though he didn't win one.
He
Just like
didn't
Georgia's
get- he didn't
defending
get
national
two- They
champions,
kept two
even though
trophies.
they didn't win one.
They kept 2 trophies. They gave him 1, but the other 2 they gave some other guys.
Some other guys? Well, I don't know. I'm looking forward to the bowl games. I think Georgia, Nebraska, it's a rematch of last year. Nobody's going to show up for Nebraska because it's the same game and they
Right.
want that guy fired.
Right.
Nobody's going to be there.
Right.
I think Georgia, no Aaron Murray, underachieving defense, all the rash of injuries.
Yeah.
People are over it. I don't think that there's 30,000 people at that football.
Right. The product is down. It's definitely down. The vibe.
Well, this
there's
year
no
was a
vibe.
disappointment.
But definitely
It
a
was a
disappointment. Definitely a disappointment. And doing nothing to rectify the situation.
Rectify. I like that
Yeah,
because it's Mark
every-
Rick.
I'll let
Mark
you-
Rectify.
I'll let you. Right.
Interceptor.
Who are you?
You're like a wordsmith.
Talking to you is like talking to Smitty. All right?
Hey, we're going to make adjustments.
We'll make adjustments. We're going to refocus. And our problem was we didn't finish the game at the end.
Didn't make plays.
So we're
the
going
other
to
team did.
we're going to take a look, revisit it, make corrections.
He does like revisiting.
Refocus.
Hey, we got a good one tonight. Two of the best in the business, Phillip Rivers and Old Payton.
Yeah, it will be good.
Should be a good one.
In Denver, huh?
I really do because San Diego's backs are against the wall. They got to win.
Yeah.
They got to win. And I would not be surprised if they gave them a really good game tonight.
They've been playing a lot better. They've been giving everybody a game.
Yeah, and they get Melvin Ingram back. Remember Melvin Ingram? He was the
Yeah.
guy opposite of Clowney.
Right.
They're making all those plays
right.
at defensive end, but he's coming back.
Right.
I think San Diego's a pretty good team. think they've.
They had another guy too, Taylor, and I lost track of him, but he got drafted on the other side of Clowney.
Oh yeah. The big kid, 6'7".
Yeah,
Yeah, the tall guy.
and
Glanville
he,
liked him.
Yeah, and he is he's a monster. The games I saw him in, it really was. He jumped off the screen at you, then got drafted late, and I lost track of him.
But we'll find him.
We'll find him.
If I didn't throw my pad over there, I could look it up. So the other day somebody wrote an article about somebody picked up. They were talking to six. A guy wrote a piece. He went out and he spoke to 6 different evaluators of talent,
Right.
6 different teams in the NFL, and he got pretty much the same story from every single one of them regarding Jadeveon Clowney, and that is. I hate to say boom or bust, but the Andre Bruce effect. Like
Might be lazy. Might be lazy.
Well,
doesn't really give you everything he's got. You never know when it's at, and that drives coaches crazy, and it really hurts your team because you can't plan around it.
Don't you want a guy who is just self-motivating?
You want to.
Why would your job is hard enough? Why the hell do you need to motivate somebody?
You need a motor like on a Warlow or Barlow. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or Zeke Mata. Guys with a motor. Back in the day, yes.
He's got a Valentine under the numbers, and it's pumping, doctor. It's pumping. But no, let's just say Falcons are picking 3, and he's there. You want him?
No.
I don't either.
I'm scared.
I'm scared, too. Go with the safe pick.
Yeah.
Go with the safe pick. And he could be... He's never going to be Reggie White.
We're not in the position now to play the crapshoot game. Because if he doesn't work out, we're really behind the 8 ball. It's not like you can make a mistake on that pick. Mm-hmm. And when you do, everybody thought Andre Bruce just on, physicality, his body alone, he was going to be all world. Mm-hmm. Guy didn't want to play.
See, what was that, 88?
I think so, yeah.
88.
Yeah, Marion Campbell.
I just got too many questions about it. It's NFL's hard enough. You got to want to be there. And in the comparison that they drew, which I thought was a very good one, was to Des Bryant. Say Des Bryant came with some baggage, but there was never any question about his self-motivation.
Right.
He loves football.
Right.
He's the first guy to practice.
Right.
In practice, he's trying to knock people out. There was
and
never
Clowney,
a problem.
Clowney has never shown that.
Yeah.
Never given any indication. See, those are guys you can live with and work with. And it's like AJ, the most talented guy in the world. How talented are you?
If you don't want to work. The guy lost 4 fingers in a chainsaw freak massacre.
And AJ had him in a baggie.
Yeah.
It was only right he'd bring him to the emergency room.
We were talking back when we used to do our show, and I mentioned this story to you. We know the same guy, and spent some time with the Washington Redskins. He was supposed to be there for longer. He was only there for 1 year. And he told me that he was on the medical side of things.
Right.
He said that there would be days where some of the veterans, let's just use Clinton Portis, for example, 100% medically would check out. And you'd have to, sign the board and say, well, this guy's not practicing, this guy's not practicing. Unless you didn't medically check out, then you didn't have to practice.
Right.
They'd say, okay, you're good to go. He says, no, I don't have to practice today. So what are you talking about? You're fine. You have to practice. He says, I don't have to practice. And the player would pull out his cell phone and call Dan Snyder.
Right.
And Dan Snyder would get on the phone to the doctor and be like, no, he doesn't have to practice today.
The biggest problem in sports, that's the biggest problem, is getting guys like that think that because they have great wealth can do whatever they want. And they can't. This is one area where you can't fake it. You can't fake it in sports. You can't run a team if you've never been on a team. We see it now with all of the money in college athletics. All of the college presidents are getting involved in sports decisions. They are, in many places, also the athletic director. The president thinks he's the athletic director. He thinks he's the head coach. He thinks he could suggest things, and suggestions are really telling you what to do. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. It's really a dangerous aspect of all sports.
Well, it just shows you Shanahan. He's been around. Say what you want to say about Shanahan, but he's not going to let an owner. And he should have known this going into it.
Right.
It's like being the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, or being the coach for the Oakland Raiders back when Numbnuts was running the show, Skeletor.
Yeah, but he was pretty good. See, Al Davis knew the game.
Not towards the end.
Toward the end. toward the end.
He was like Weekend at Bernie's. They would take him to the draft. They'd point to a player. They'd pull a string, and if he rose his hand,
He would
that's the
order
guy.
a boiled egg like 12 times over.
But you know what? You say that, but that's got to be a hard thing to give up. I don't care how old you
of
get.
course.
It's your team. It's your
You know,
baby. You
but
want to win.
But some guys you're allowed to do that, like Al Davis. He came from a football environment. He was one of my coaches at the Citadel, for crying out loud, when I was there as a freshman. I mean, he came up through the ranks, then an assistant coach, then general manager. I mean, the guy paid his dues. If Al Davis has got something to say about the game, you want to use that.
Yeah.
He's been there, done it.
So you
but he was rare.
So you're saying if Arthur Blank was a football guy, that he would make the knee-jerk reaction. Knee-jerk might not be the right word, but he would make the evaluation of this coaching staff and say, you know what, this isn't what we need.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the fact that he's not a football guy,
He's
loyal to a fault.
He's a corporate guy. No, he just doesn't know because in other words, how guys are, how athletes are, and the best athlete. And it's not the best. The best athletes are just running on innate skills. I'm talking about the guys who are really good in the game, that have an innate feel for the game, who become great coaches. An owner doesn't have any way of relating to that. Relating what it's like to be in a game or to be in a team environment. He was never, you started Home Depot, but you don't start that in a team environment. You're directing, and then you're directing directors, and so, I mean, you're more in the boardroom than you are on the floor, understanding this guy doesn't know the first thing about hammers. So he just has no relationship to sports and competition and athletics. So, I mean, hopefully he can pick it up. He can get a working knowledge of it.
But isn't that supposed to be Rich McKay? Is it Rich McKay supposed to be that guy?
That's what Arthur relies on. But Rich is Rich is as far away from it as Arthur is. Rich has been around football. His father was a coach. He was a ball boy for Southern Cal when he was 6 years old. I mean, he's been around it, but it doesn't. He doesn't know how to evaluate
Same
it.
thing with Mike Nolan. Mike Nolan's been around the game for 50 years.
Yeah, some guys just don't know, just don't relate to it. I think it's like kind of like a DNA thing. It's like you can talk about it, you can be a fan of it, you can talk very authoritatively about it, but if you don't have a feel for who's a good guy, who can coach, who can't coach, who's in over his head, then you'll never get that. You don't learn that.
I think the one thing that's really not being talked about is, everybody assumes that the Falcons are going to be better next year, right?
Yeah.
They'll be better offensive line, they have to be. Better on the defensive line, they have to be.
Well, that's what we thought last year.
Okay, better on they have to be. Okay, but here's my deal. Okay, you don't have Tony Gonzalez in there.
Right.
That is so. I mean, not talked about enough.
Right.
I mean, I think he's everything to that team. And once he leaves, it's all on Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
It's all on Matt
Oh,
Ryan.
yeah.
It's not all on him now.
No.
I think guys look more to Tony in that locker room than anybody else.
That's one good reason why Harry Douglas is getting more touches, and good to see him, in a more prominent role out there, because we're going to rely on him. Matt's going to rely on him more, because don't forget, Harry's been the fourth option, on every route. And now everybody's got to move up. Tony was the go-to guy on third down, and then ostensibly by bringing in Steven Jackson, we balanced the entire field. Like if you're on a third and goal, third and long, whatever, you can double Tony Gonzalez, and you can get away with it, because we didn't have anybody in the backfield who could hurt you. Now with Steven Jackson, you've got a guy, you've got to cover sideline to sideline. The field is entirely balanced. You can get no double teams anywhere. That's what is going to happen with Matt next year. I mean, he's going to have to, pick out the receiver.
Well, I don't know. I think that losing Tony, and I honestly believe that the Julio injury is a lot more than we're being led on to believe. I think it's bad.
I think it was significant, but there's a year between. I mean, the guy's already been rehabbing for most of the season.
Just saying.
No, I know.
Long term, you're going to give a guy who's broke his foot that many times with a screw, you're going to give him $100 million?
Well,
no, but somebody out there's dumb enough to.
Well, look what happened with RG3.
Or smart enough
Look
to.
what happened with RG3. It's exactly the same deal.
He was it happened on my birthday last year. I was watching the game, December 9th, 2012. He was playing the Baltimore Ravens.
Right.
He had 900 and something yards rushing
Right.
from the line of scrimmage
Right.
on maybe 4 or 5 designed runs.
Right.
They didn't design for him to
Right,
run.
right.
It was just downset hut parking lot football.
Right.
And he could rely on that and throw his guys open.
Right.
You take that away from him, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's like, you know,
You mean take the running game away from him?
yeah.
Yeah. No, I know. He's not confident. He's not giving them a spark. He's laboring. He looks like he's still favoring that. You know, sometimes it takes a couple of years mentally to get over that.
I think this is an opportunity to showcase Cousins. Like
I mean,
we
look
did.
at Derrick Rose too. You know,
Like-
same thing.
Pour out some liquor for my dead homie. Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
Dude, they lost to the Knicks the other night.
I know.
How about your boy Woody?
Great cologne guy.
They
I
lost
always
to
say.
they lost to the freaking Bucks the other
I
night.
know,
Larry
I
Drew beat
I
him.
know. It's a mess up there. It's a mess. Hey,
Hey,
you want to hear a good story?
I'd love to hear a good story.
You know, seeing at the game the other night, like Pat Riley used to put in the playoffs against Miami against Indiana. He would put against Oklahoma City. He would put Udonis in there, start him every game for one specific reason. That was to hit punch the big
Perkins?
fella. No, the big fella. And then,
Ibaka?
Durant.
Oh, Durant.
Durant hates contact. He hates contact. And Udonis would take him, like in the first 5 minutes, smack him in the snot locker, and then go sit down, and Durant wouldn't be the same the rest of the game. He does not want to go inside. He does not want any contact.
Well, he's a little guy. I mean, he's tall, but he's frail. He's soft. I mean, he's a tall, thin guy.
Obviously. I
my
mean,
point.
what do you think I'm looking at? What do you think I'm looking at? Schwarzenegger?
You know,
You know?
who's still unbelievable? I watched him play the other night. Is Dirk. Dirk, he's unbelievable. I mean, he's 35 years old, almost 36 years old. He's averaging 23 a game, 9.5 rebounds, 2 blocks, dropping threes, running the floor. He's freaking unbelievable.
You talk about a guy that perfected his game.
Yeah.
You know, taking a unique game and just perfecting it. He is unbelievable.
I mean, for his age to still be
Yeah.
playing at that
Right.
kind of level. And Mark Cuban, you know, it would have been easy for him to trade him and
Right.
rebuild. And
Right.
like, you know what? He could still play.
Yeah.
He's never played another game for another team.
Right.
Because he was drafted by
So
Milwaukee,
are
but
you
he never
saying,
played with
are
them.
you saying Cuban's smart, or you say he's got a Valentine, or he's got a little soul?
I'm saying he knows his basketball.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. He seems to have a sense for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's more substance than all the nonsense that goes on.
Kind of like our ownership.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I about have my fill of you.
You know what? You really have ruined my day.
Hold on, let me see if there's anything that we missed here. What's
Oh,
your
really?
guy? Taylor? I'm interested now.
Who?
Taylor.
Taylor? You
Yes,
want my
the-
Taylor? What do you want to put cuffs on your pants? What?
You're such a schmuck. Devin Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to figure out where the hell he plays, you knucklehead.
See, look at this. Look at how you look this stuff up. You know what I mean? You're fooling people at home. When you do this on the air, like in a radio studio without a TV camera, you fool people.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't know where Devin Taylor is. I want to say the Lions, but Devin Taylor is an American football defensive end for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah. You know what?
You know what?
How about Detroit getting him? Somebody mentioned to me, it's like, you know, put the analogy out there that Dimitrov is more of a skilled guy, you know what I mean? And then take a look at the guy in Detroit. One of their scouts is really, he's in charge of the slugs and really knows the grunts and can pick those guys out. Like, now to put Devin Taylor on top of all those guys, that's really a good eye.
Well, and don't
that's
forget,
really
their
smart
first-round
drafting.
pick was Ansar,
Yeah.
guy from BYU.
Right. No, yeah,
I'll be here all day.
great. See you, everybody.
Let's get the Laurenta. You were good today. Really. Solid.